Hi, this tutorial is basically a complete estimate, checking in parts, materials, etc. to give you an idea of how it works. We're going to do a basic collision estimate. It's going to be long and it's pretty much going to be pretty boring, but you can forward, fast, and rewind to get to specific areas that you're interested in. But this is a complete video start to finish. Now when you set up your shop contact information, you're not going to have to do this every time you write an estimate, but when you open it for your first time and set it up for your specific shop with your rates and everything else, you're not going to have to even use this tab anymore. You'll go straight to the customer tab when you write an estimate. But for this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and show you how to set up your shop. Use the tab key to go from field to field. Now you can choose whatever your shop does. If you do restoration work, you can choose restoration in your first line. If you do custom body work, you can choose that as well. Now we're going to do a basic collision estimate, just a small one, so we're going to leave these blank. We're not even going to use the first two columns in the estimate, so we're just going to use the delete key. Anytime you delete information in a field, just make sure that one's not checked with Open Office. For some reason, if you have that one checked, it'll delete all the formulas and everything else for your calculation. You don't want to do that. Just make sure that's unchecked. Once you uncheck it, you'll never have to deal with it again. See, we're going to leave that one blank as well. We're not even going to use, like I said, the first two columns. We're going to use collision, metal, frame, and basic paint. We're not even going to use custom paint either, although you can. It will actually allow you to use different labor rates. Just make sure the paint labors are always in the last two boxes. That way your materials will calculate properly. Enter your paint materials formula, the rate amount that insurance companies use, or the rate amount you use, shop supplies, parts markup, tax, and that's for your sublet line, the last note field. Now, utilizing a cap for the insurance company estimate, we have a separate tutorial for that because that's pretty extensive on dealing with caps. There's your production rate, some messages for your estimates. Now this right here is exclusive to 4.0, and it'll be in 5.0 as well. Alright, now once you set your shop up, it carries over the information to all your estimates. It'll put all your information in there. Now when you write an estimate, you're going to need to, each time you will have to fill out the customer information. And use the tab key to scroll through all their information. Put today's date, whatever date you write the estimate. Actual drop-off date, you want to put whenever the car is left at your shop. You want to put that there. That's for calculating target dates and whatnots. Now, if it's an insurance job, you can fill this information out. Their phone number, deductibles. I'll enter a deductible just so you can show how it will calculate deductibles when needed. Go to payment. You can enter a down payment here. Now, if your down payment, if you calculate a down payment in the estimate itself, because it will accommodate down payments right there, that will be in those lines, and you won't have to enter those manually. It'll do it automatic before you put the date that you received payment. And you can enter a memo there about anything about the payment. Enter the amount. Begin your estimate. See, those are the blank columns. We won't be using those. No metal work on that. The camera frame's running out, so we're just going to kind of scroll through. Add your part cost. Oh, you need paint time as well. The camera's out of frame. That's the reason we have to scroll over. You won't have to do that when you write an estimate. Let's see, we're going to replace the absorber as well. We're just kind of going to do a simple random estimate. Let's see, we're going to edge in. Let's see, that's paint. We're going to edge in that edging. You can also type this information. Remove, replace, bumper, absorber. It's collision labor. Those things will fall out in your hands. Use the tab key to go over to your paint. There's no paint time on absorber. Put the part cost in there. You can look the parts cost up in the aftermarket book, and you can just guess. If it's an OEM part, you can guess, and then just, you know, call your part supplier to get an accurate quote before you finalize things with your customer. Let's see, we're going to remove, replace hood, just to keep things basic. We're going to write that in. Remove, replace, location hood. We're going to use OEM original for that. And that's got to be painted as well. And we will add to edge that. That's trimming it out also, just call it edging. And you can continue right on through if there's a repair item like repair, left fender, near wheel, and let's say that's an 8-hour dent. That's got to be painted as well. And we're going to blend the door color match. You can write it in, or let's see, I guess once you click the letter, I'm going to back up. Okay, once you start writing it in, you have to write it the rest of the way. We're going to blend, let's see, that's left side, so we're going to blend left door. And that's paint time as well. Now I'm having to scroll back and forth to keep it in the camera in the recording screen, but you're not going to have to do that, like I said. Let's see, blend 4 color match. There we go. Okay, now you can continue on. Sublets are for like towing. Put tow bill. Put that charge right down there. And then your totals, it will do all your math. There's your calculations for paint materials right there. Your parts markup. sublets, taxes, etc., etc. You can do page 2 the same way. It'll calculate both pages. Now the repair order, it automatically fills out your repair order. It shows the labor hours for each category. You can enter notes for your techs. Right here you can add a note. So they have details about the work that's got to be done. You print that, you just stick it in the car, so they know what's got to be done. It won't print dollars. A lot of times shops don't want techs knowing how much they charged, but they need to know how many hours is on it. That's it'll do page 1, page 2, and the supplement page. You can add images there, and there's tutorials for adding that stuff. And if you have any questions, you can always call support. Supplements, hidden damages. I'm gonna do a I'm gonna do a hidden damage just as an example. Let's see, we're gonna strip bare metal. We're gonna do that to the roof panel. Just as an example, that's metal work. So we're gonna do 8 hours to do that. Let's see, now we're going to need to prime that panel, and that's extra time. So we're going to block and prime. I know blocking is normally done with fillers, but we're just, as an example, we're just going to write prime here. And a roof panel. And that's typically done in paint time, but you can do it in your labor rate. Oops, $30 is a lot for that. Okay, that's in a supplement. You didn't know you were going to have to strip the hood, but you got to get paid for it because it needed to be stripped. And it will calculate your supplements. Now we're going to show you where the parts fits in supplements too. Now what this does, anytime you put an amount in the parts column, it will flag it as parts, and you have the details about the parts here. When you're getting ready to receive the parts come in, you've ordered them, parts coming in, you got to check them in, you got to enter how much the invoice was on the parts, because sometimes it changes from the time you actually estimated the job to the to the time you call to order parts. So we're going to say actual cost was actually higher. It was $125. So right there's an adjustment of $30 that needs to be added in to the supplement line, and they'll go in right here. So we're going to finish checking in parts. That was the same. We're going to leave that like that just to keep it simple, just to show you how that works. That part was the same. No parts on page 2 and no parts on the supplement. It also calculates your markup. There's your $30 that you need to recoup, because that part was $30 more than you estimated it, because when you called the supplier they said they had price increases, so there you go. Okay, you can do the same thing with materials. When you're checking in materials, the invoice comes in, you've ordered all the materials for the job, the invoice comes in, you estimated $252, and let's say it cost $230, actual invoice. So there's a price difference there, and you need to collect that, and it will go in After you're done, it will go in and calculate in materials adjustment as well. There's your totals tab. You can print this for summaries. Gives you the total of all the columns you used and the dollar amounts. Calculates, you know, total in parts, taxes, materials. If you're using a material cap, it'll be there instead of using that calculation. And that's in a separate tutorial because it gets quite involved. And there's your total. There's your sublet total for the towing. That's marked up as well. And that's a basic estimate, and the statements will help. You can email those to your customers, or if they call up and say, hey, I made a payment, there's the payment that was made. What's my balance? And it shows the balances, shows total payments. That way you're up to speed and you can keep them up to speed. Profits tab, there'll be estimated charges, the supplemental charges, you'll have totals there, and when the job's finished, you can actually put down, actually enter the total cost of your labor, and it will give you a net profit. And that's basically writing an estimate with Autobody Excel 4.0.